you have a negative opinion about yourself, if you struggle with confidence, this is a program for you. Today we're going to be doing QA. This is day 12 of Mindset Reset. We have already covered a tremendous amount in the first 11 days of live trainings. If you would like to catch up and jump into the program, it's free, it's around forever. It's here as a service and as my gift to you to help you become a more positive, confident person, and for you to understand the science around how you think, the science about how the ways that you think impact what you see in the world, and it also impacts your luck, it impacts your success. And so all you need to go to melrobbins.com/mindset reset, and you will be sent an email every day that the program is live. If you're watching this after the live trainings have completed, no worries. We will send you an email with a link to the complete playlist of every single live training video that we've done, so you can watch it at your own pace. We'll also send you a guide and PDFs that you can use as tools in the program. And if you haven't signed up yet, tomorrow we start Anxiety Week. So day 13 begins literally almost 10 days of live training around anxiety. And this is going to be game-changing, life-changing material. So make sure that you check out the training starting on day 13. Today we're going to be doing Q&A. Okay, and Q&A, we've taken these questions from the questions that you've been submitting all week. If you have a question right now, my team is monitoring the comments. Just put your questions in the comments and of this broadcast, and the team will monitor them. And if we see your question and it's one that a lot of people are asking, you better believe that we will answer it today. So let's jump into the Q&A. And again, if you want to get involved in Mindset Reset, just go straight to melrobbins.com/mindset reset. It's not too late to sign up. You're never behind. This is not a program with a test. This is not a program that is a race. This is not a program where you do better than other people. This is a program that you do at your own pace, that you utilize in your life every single day, and that teaches you how to take control of the way that you think so that you can be happier, you can be healthier, and you can achieve your goals. So we're day 12, and let's jump into the questions. So the first question is from Nicole. Nicole writes, I'm an emotional eater and spender, Mel. I'm slowly getting bigger by using food as a way to numb pain. How many of you can relate to that? That there's something that you're doing that you reach for as a distraction or a way to numb your pain. Maybe you eat emotionally. Maybe you take the edge off of your stress by drinking too much every night. Maybe you rearrange the furniture in your house, or you're constantly painting the walls in your bedroom because you think if you shift things around that somehow that's going to change the bigger issues in your life. The thing about eating, drinking, having affairs, changing your furniture, shopping, porn addiction, anything that you might reach for as a distraction. The thing that's interesting about that is that all those distractions are things that you're doing, right? You're keeping yourself busy and distracted so that you don't have to pay attention to what it's like to be here. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important for you to learn how to do a mindset reset, because it doesn't matter how much you drink or eat or shop or watch porn or do drugs or cheat. All of those things are never going to improve your life, and you know it. They are delaying the inevitable, which means there's going to come a moment in time where these destructive things that you're doing in order to numb the pain and avoid the work, they're going to come to a head, and they're going to have a catastrophic impact on your life. And you can either continue to numb the pain, and you can do things that are destructive, and you can know that you are marching toward it either imploding your health, your bank account, your sanity, your marriage, your job, your entire life, or you can face it right now and you can start doing the powerful work. Yeah, it'll be painful in the beginning. It'll be painful because you're changing habits, but you can start doing the powerful work to change the way that you think, so that when you see food and the default way that you think is, oh, I've had a bad day. That croissant would just be awesome. Or that cookie would be amazing. Or screw it, I'll have a piece of cake tonight. I deserve, oh. If that's the default way that you numb yourself that way, the deliberate way of thinking is to start to shift. And instead of thinking that you should just eat your pain away, that you stop and you say to yourself, no, I'm becoming a healthy person. I am in control. I love myself so much, I'm going to make deliberate decisions. That's what the work of the mindset reset is. Is it going to be hard? Yeah, it's going to be hard because you're changing behavior. I mean hard not in the sense that it's difficult and you can't do it. I mean hard in the sense that it's going to feel uncomfortable. But you are capable of making these changes. You truly are. You are capable of making this happen. And so, I think it's really important that you realize that you change your life one decision at a time. And if you're getting bigger using food as a way to numb your pain, now is the time to interrupt that default before you have a heart attack, or before you get so big that it ruins your marriage or it makes you depressed. You have to make decisions now that interrupt the patterns that are destroying your life. You say, I buy my kids and husband things we can't afford all the time to make up for how inadequate I feel as a wife and mother. Let me tell you something. There's nothing that you can buy at Target or Walmart or the mall that will be better than giving your kids and your husband a wife and a mother who feels happy and proud of herself and comfortable in her own skin. I used to have that exact same pattern. When Chris and I were facing bankruptcy 10 years ago, and I felt like the world's biggest loser, and I had lost my job, and my God, it was a struggle just to buy groceries every single week. I would literally spend an hour just walking the aisles at DSW, which is the designer shoe warehouse, and I would walk the aisles and try on shoes, and occasionally I would buy a pair with money I didn't have. And, even the $23 on the sale rack was a purchase that could impact whether or not we could truly buy the groceries that we needed. Why was I doing it? Because it was an escape. Why was I doing it? Because I was so scared about the situation that we were in that it was more comfortable to pretend things were okay. It was more comfortable to go to DSW and have an hour where I pretended that I was a normal person that had my act together and that could afford to do that. But the truth is, here's the hard truth. Yeah, it felt comfortable to escape for a second, but doing that wasn't going to change anything. It was going to make it worse, and it did. What I needed to be doing with that exact same hour is I needed to be looking for a job. I needed to be exercising and taking care of my body. I needed to be calling friends and asking for moral support. I needed to be working on my resume. And intellectually, I knew that. But just like you, Nicole, I was choosing the thing that was the escape. And part of doing a mindset reset is recognizing the patterns that you are actively engaged in, like overeating and spending money that you don't have, that come from a default negative limiting belief that you aren't good enough. If you are good enough, what are you doing? You're not going to DSW. You're not reaching for the food that's making you huge. You're not buying things that you don't need. Because if you start to tell yourself that you're good enough, the second that you feel yourself driving to Walmart to buy stuff that you don't need for your husband and your kids, You can say, wait a minute. I'm good enough as the person that I am. I don't need to go to Walmart and buy things to prove that I'm not good enough for my kids and my husband. In fact, I'm going to do a U-turn and I'm going to go home and I'm going to go make cupcakes because I'm good enough. I don't need to buy anything to prove it. You see, it begins with your willingness to spot the limiting belief. And you did. You said, I feel inadequate. And now the way that you switch to feeling worthy is you not only interrupt the thought, I'm not good enough. You insert a new thought, which is, I am awesome and I am getting better every day. And then you start to substitute behaviors that align with you believing that you're good enough. So let me explain. I want you to go through your day, Nicole. And for those of you, how many of you feel like you're not worthy? How many of you feel and can admit, you have the courage to admit that you either engage in drinking, in drugs, in cheating, in shopping, in moving furniture around, in eating bad, whatever it may be, there's something that you're reaching for as a distraction. Another one, getting angry at people all the time. Like that you're the kind of person that gets triggered so easily that you get angry. It's always everybody else's fault. It's always everybody else's fault. Like that's another form of distraction, everyone, is when you constantly think other people are to blame. And so if this is how many of you can admit that? And if it's coming from a place of being unworthy, here's the coaching. You're going to have to submit, you're going to have to do the think this, not that exercise. And Danielle and Mandy, who are producing this with me, can you please tell me what day we covered that so that we can tell you what day video to go back and watch, how you think this right now, the limiting belief, I'm not worthy. And we want to substitute you to think that I am doing the best I can. I'm awesome at being a mom. I am worthy of my husband and my children's love just as I am. That's an example of the kind of thing you can substitute. Then here's what I want you to do, Nicole, and every one of you that has this issue, you engage in behaviors that prove that you don't think you're good enough. January 4th was the live training on how you think this, not that, okay? So just go to either melrobbins.com/mindset reset. You'll get a link to all of them, or go to our YouTube channel and look at the training from January 4th, okay? So I want you to make a list of all the things that you do when you feel unworthy, okay? This is called if-then planning, and it is proven by science when you create an if-then plan. If I feel this, then I'm going to do that. You're 67% more likely to actually follow through on the plan if you have pre-made your plan. So Nicole, and every one of you that feels unworthy and you're doing stuff that you know is sabotaging your health, your success, your marriage, everything, I want you to go through your day and identify all the things that you do when you don't feel good enough. All the self-sabotaging behavior. Now I want you to create an if-then plan. If I feel myself reaching for the crappy food, then I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to walk out of the kitchen. I'm going to pop a piece of gum in my mouth. I'm going to say, I'm worthy. I don't need this scoop of ice cream. Then do that for all your triggers. And now it's going to be a mindset reset. Remember, it's a process, not an event. When you catch yourself driving to Walmart or DSW, whoa, here I go. If I catch myself driving to DSW, then I'm going to turn the car around and I'm going to call a friend on my way back home. That's what I'm going to do. And you'll be shocked at how it works when you have a plan in place to interrupt the self-sabotaging behavior and insert something that's positive. All right, Julia, we're getting a lot of these questions. What do I do when I don't know my dreams and therefore I cannot visualize them? We did a training on visualization. I believe it was January 1st. We're changing the title on YouTube and Facebook to make sure that you know that it's about visualization. Mandy and Danielle, will you give me a thumbs up if you got that request and if that is in motion today? I believe it is January 1st. And rewatch the visualization training. And if you don't have a dream, I actually don't think that's true. Oh, awesome. It has been changed. Well done. So the title of it will have visualization in it. It is January 1st. Watch it. I explain the science of visualization. It's a fascinating video, and it will change the urgency with which you view the need to start visualizing. So I don't believe that you don't know your dreams. I think you've gotten so down and so resigned, or maybe your life has changed and you're a new widow, or you have lost a job and you feel a little beaten down, or you're broken up, and you don't believe in your ability to make your dreams come true. So I'm going to give you a couple prompts. What's one place that you've always wanted to travel? That is something that you can visualize. Visualize what you would do, where you would go. I did that for my trip to Tanzania for almost 10 years. For almost 10 years, I literally would visualize spending my 50th birthday with my family in Tanzania on safari and being able to write the check. So think about a place you've always wanted to travel. Another thing that you could do is think about what your life would look like if you were proud of how healthy you are. What would you be eating? Who would you be hanging out with? What would you be doing? Another way that you can jumpstart visualization is you can think about somebody's life that you admire and insert yourself into it and start visualizing yourself doing that. You can, if you're like Nicole, and every one of you that raised your hand and said, yeah, I have limiting beliefs, and so I do this sabotaging behavior, you can use visualization to simply visualize what it would look like to have a day where you are completely in control of your decisions. What does it look like when you wake up? What do you feel when you wake up? What do you eat for breakfast? What are you doing in the middle of the day? Who are you hanging out with? What are you doing at night that energizes you, that makes you happy? Visualize yourself going to bed feeling proud of what you did. And maybe it's just that today you didn't buy anything you didn't need. Today you didn't veer off of the eating program that you are following so you can become a healthy eater. Today you interrupted every single negative thought. It doesn't have to be something massive. It can just be that you made it through the day in a way that makes you feel empowered. That's how I would jumpstart it. Because the thing about visualization, everybody, is these are new skills. It's like learning how to do a cartwheel for the first time. You're not going to master it in the beginning. You don't have to do 50 cartwheels in a row. You're learning the fundamentals and the science behind it. And if you go back to January 1st and you watch the video about the two-step process, you visualize it very specifically, and you allow yourself to feel the positive emotions of happiness, of pride, of feeling satisfied with what you've done. You allow that emotion to go through your body as you're visualizing yourself going through your day, or you're visualizing yourself on safari, or you're visualizing your first book being completed. That is the science behind it. And so you're practicing it as a skill. And look, you may visualize something for a week and then be like, you know what? I don't want to visualize that anymore. I want to visualize something else. Here's an anonymous email, but we have gotten this a ton. I absolutely love this topic because I can relate to it. And oh my gosh, we just got this one too. The Laughing Foodie just answered this. We got this a bunch anonymous emails. We got it in comments in a million different ways. I started the Mindset Reset program and whoa, I realized what a toxic person I am. Ew. Don't you hate it when that happens? I know I do. Part of the biggest transformation that I have experienced is realizing that it's not them, it's me. I'm the issue. That my thoughts are negative. I'm the jerk. I'm the one that's offended all the time. I'm the one with thin skin. I'm the one that needs to be the center of attention. And it's not an easy thing to It's not an easy thing to see, and it's not a fun thing to see, and it's a very important, critical even thing to see about yourself. And the reason why is a lot of us are toxic because we are carrying around a lot of pain. You might be toxic because you were raised in a household by parents of a different generation who just were cold. Maybe they were judgy. You don't have to have faced direct abuse in your life to have internalized a lack of affection or a lack of love or a toxicity in your household. And so one of the first things that you need to do is own it, which you are doing by saying, I'm the toxic one. The second thing that you should do is you should start to explore why. What happened to you that made you a cold person? What happened to you that made you so insecure in relationships with other people that you engage in toxic behavior? And then the third thing is start to think about somebody that you really admire. Maybe it's somebody you know, or maybe it's somebody that you admire from afar. What is somebody that you've witnessed that's kind, that's generous, that is inclusive, that's patient? What do those kind of people do? Like what I've noticed is in my personal life, I talk a lot less when I'm in group settings. When I'm in one-on-one conversations with friends, I talk about what is going on in my life if I'm asked. Otherwise, I ask all the questions. I lead with being interested and curious about somebody else instead of just coming in and having an opinion. One of the things that I've used the 5-second rule a lot for in my personal life is shutting myself up. Because a lot of my toxic behavior was about dominating conversations and being the center of attention. Because if I'm talking, I'm assuming that, I'm in control. If I'm quiet and somebody else is talking, I'm in my head sometimes worrying that I'm being judged. And so over the past 5 years in particular, I have fundamentally changed how I operate in friendships. Now, in business, I'm sure my colleagues and employees are watching this going, well, you certainly haven't done it in business. Well, one of the reasons why is we're in growth mode and execution mode, and I'm always on the move. I'm getting better at slowing down. It's something that I need to work on, but I definitely operate fundamentally differently in my personal life than I do in my work life, and it's made a huge difference. But the first part of dealing with the toxicity is to own it. And it can be narcissism, meaning you got to be the center of attention. You don't care about anybody else. That's something that you got to change, and you got to start seeking connection. It could be deep insecurity that has you want to control every decision. You got to start practicing patience. You got to start asking questions. You got to start being more generous. You got to start doing things that demonstrate that you care. I think that's it. This program definitely, specifically this email said, can the program be for somebody who's toxic? Absolutely. That's why you need a mindset reset. If you're realizing that your own behavior is so toxic, it's impacting your ability to connect with people, get to work on this, because this is something that you can absolutely turn around. We got a question, and we've gotten this a couple times, about how you're feeling very energized now that you are practicing the morning routine, which were days 11, 10, and 9. So days 9, 10, and 11, we covered the morning routine and the connection between your mindset and how you wake up and how you start your day. And I almost said imploring. I think that is the right word. Me imploring my urgency around the notion that your dreams deserve 10 minutes and you need to develop a morning routine that supports you always waking up before you look at your phone and putting the first 10 minutes of the day toward your dreams, toward your mindset. And those of you that are practicing it and taking this assignment on, you are seeing a profound shift, profound shift. Okay. But we're getting a bunch of questions about how do I deal with the fact that by the end of the day, I'm exhausted and I'm depleted and I'm starting to spiral downward again. It's an excellent question. You can take the exact same principles from taking control of your morning and you can fashion an evening routine. Evening routines are very powerful because they start setting you up for the following day. Your evening routine might be having a particular time before you're going to go to sleep that you put your phone away. It might be having a ritual like taking a hot shower or soaking in a tub and how that stimulates your vagus nerve and starts to calm you down. It might be a practice of journaling and having a gratitude journal. You might take on a practice that every night around 8 o'clock after dinner is wound down, you call somebody in your life and you reconnect with somebody. So having an evening routine, the routine itself will give you comfort. And if you create an evening routine that you enjoy, it will start to become something that you look forward to, just like a lot of people look forward to having a drink at 5 o'clock. So I would look to creating an evening routine if you notice a stark difference between your mood and energy in the morning and how you wind down at night. So Roy Plummer says, Mel, was it always easy to call yourself out on your own stuff? No. No. I would say for the first 42 years of my life, definitely not. And to the extent I did call myself out on it, it wasn't with a deeper commitment to actually changing. The fascinating thing about being transparent about the bad stuff that you do is that it makes life so much easier. When I started to really explore what happened to me as a kid, and in particular, how being sexually abused in the 4th grade, it was just one incident. It was an older kid. It wasn't a relative. It wasn't something that was ongoing. It was more confusing at the time than it was upsetting. But that single incident and how it impacted the way that I behaved in relationships, my propensity to lie, it wasn't until I really started to look at that incident and the strategies that I created to survive it and the strategies that I developed, to make sure that my mom and my dad loved me. Not any blame on my parents at all. This is really just as kids, we develop strategies to survive our life, to get through things, to make sure our parents are happy with us, to fit in at school. And then we carry those, Roy, into our adulthood. It wasn't until I got serious about really investigating it and bringing a healthy dose of, look, I'm just human. Had I known better, I would have done better. But now that I'm exploring this, I know better, so I can do better. The fascinating thing about being honest about having been abused, being honest about being a jerk in every relationship before Chris, and the amount of cheating that I did based on self-loathing and insecurity and anxiety. Oh my God, my daughter is calling me. Oh, sorry, everybody. Hold on. Let me text my daughter. I'm sorry to groan like that, but I'm frustrated because I told her not to call me because it interrupts the live stream. But now I'm going to do a mindset reset. She just apologized, said sorry she forgot. See, like that's the interesting thing. I just got frustrated because I had pre-planned. Things didn't go according to plan. Did you see my emotions rise up? And I texted her, please do not call me. And now she's like, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'm totally forgot. And here's an interesting point. There are so many of you that live your life offended. Somebody at work asks you a question and you know what you interpret? What, do you think I'm an idiot? Or, you make it about you. And that's what I just did. Instead of just kind of being able to go through life and not get so triggered. She forgot. That's all that happened. Maybe the colleague's trying to help you and didn't know. That's all that happened. And we get ourselves so wound up because of our own past stories that you don't have to live like that. Now, that situation, by the way, in my old life, Roy, it probably would have bothered me for an hour. Do you see how you can diffuse something when you're self-aware that quickly? And it makes your life so much easier. Nobody's ever going to be perfect. You're going to have moments where you're triggered. There are going to be things that you have to learn that you're going to be new at. It doesn't mean you're an idiot. It doesn't mean that you're not worthy. That's the nature of life. It's the nature of work. As things change, you're going to have to change and learn new skills. I'm so present to this right now because with this new daytime talk show that's launching, and for those of you that don't know, I landed a syndicated daytime talk show that will start airing in the fall of next year, and it is requiring something different of me. It is requiring new skills. It is requiring that I be a different kind of leader. It's requiring that emotionally I operate differently. And so I'm going through a lot of changes. Hold on. I take the pumpkin bread out. I just realized and can hear, because this training has gone on a lot longer than I expected it to, that the pumpkin bread is now burning in the oven. Pumpkin bread out of the oven. So I am texting my son to take it out. I've got about 5 more minutes before I've got to wrap this up. So if you've got any more last minute questions, throw them into the comments and we will get to them. And I'm really excited because tomorrow we start digging into a topic that's near and dear to my heart. We're going to spend an entire week, maybe even longer, talking about anxiety and giving you tools to help you deal with anxiety. Oh, I love this question. My youngest just left the nest last night. I'm day 1 of empty nesting. How do I figure out what my project or plan should be when I have no idea where to start? Here's the interesting thing. Having no idea where to start is never an excuse not to start somewhere. So for my perfectionists who I love out there, who think there's a right way to do this, give that up. You can start anywhere you want. So if you're an empty nester and you're creating a whole new life, just start with what's one thing you're curious about exploring? Just one. What's one class you've always wished you could take? What's one subject matter you've always wanted to learn more about? What's one charity that you've always thought you should volunteer at? And then move from thinking about it to taking action and doing it. Go from being a looker to a booker. Instead of thinking about volunteering, sign up to volunteer once. Sign up for one online class. Sign up for one cooking class. Sign up for one bridge class. Make one meeting with one friend to start talking about the next chapter of your life. Buy one book about second acts and just get started. Thinking about it is not an excuse or a substitute for doing it. I want you to take just one action. Don't overthink it. That's it. That's how you start. We've got some questions about the journaling method and the progress principle. I'm finding that my top project is revolving around what I have to do for work for that day. Is that okay? I'm thinking it should be focused on something for me personally. Any advice on how I focus on me and not on work? Every time I put a project down about me, I never end up getting it done, and it's derailing me trying to shift my mindset. Yeah, here's what I want you to do. First of all, if you're not getting the projects done in your morning routine, the project's too big. Shrink it down. That's it. Shrink down the project, okay? Secondly, if you don't get your project done, that's not something to use as evidence to make yourself wrong. It's data. Look at that data and then ask yourself, well, why didn't I get it done? The project may be too big. It may actually not be a project that matters to you. It might be something that you feel obligated to do. And so investigate the fact that you're putting down things that obligate you versus the things that personally fulfill you. If you're somebody that's trying to do more self-care or do more for yourself, then in the sheet for tomorrow, instead of the prompt is one thing that is important to you, put one personal project, so that tomorrow you're going to do something. Maybe if it's exercise, don't even exercise. Maybe just find one gym class this week in the next 7 days and pre-register. That's all you're going to do. If it's exercise, just commit to doing it for 5 minutes. So if you're chronically putting things down that you don't get to, I think the problem is the projects that you're putting down are way too big. So shrink them down so that you have a little bit of progress. We're getting a ton of questions about naps. So here's what we're going to do about naps. I am going to do a separate training about the science of sleep because we're getting questions about naps. We're getting questions about what you do when your spouse wakes you up. We're getting questions about the sleep. So we're going to do a separate training about sleep. Let me see. Hey, Oak? I'm worried about the pumpkin bread. So let me ask one more question. How do you start standing up for yourself? I'm too worried about making sure everyone likes me. We are getting a lot of questions about people pleasing. When I was young, I decided that being nice would be how I got love. That's awesome insight. How many of you felt like if you're nice, that's how you get along with people? Awesome, awesome, awesome insight. So here's the thing that you need to understand, Angie. There's a difference between how you say something and what you're saying. You can say the most tough, in-your-face thing in a very nice and supporting way. So what you need to start to work on, Angie, is those moments where, out of concern for being liked, you change what you're saying, the content of it. People pleasing is a problem when you start lying, withholding, and changing what you actually want to say because you're afraid people are going to judge the content. What I want you to become a master of is saying what you mean, but saying it in a way that still aligns with your values. So that's the skill you want to practice. And so try that, okay? All right. I think that's it. In case nobody else tells you today, I love you and I believe in your ability to change your life and be a happier and healthier person. I believe in your ability to seize the next chapter of your life, which could start right now, by changing the decisions that you're making. And I also believe that when you change how you think and how you talk to yourself, you will change your life. And that's why we're here doing Mindset Reset. Tomorrow we kick off Anxiety Week. It's going to be game changing. I'm asking for patience in advance because I am traveling 4 days this week alone. And it's a lot to manage to do all of these trainings in different locations, in different time zones, while I'm also giving speeches and I'm also making airplanes. And if that gives you anxiety, you should be tuning in to Mindset Reset because these tools are going to help you deconstruct it. You're going to learn all of the things that I have been doing that helped me cure myself of a 20-year battle with severe anxiety to get completely off drugs. It's the same stuff that I use with my children when they struggle with anxiety, and you'll be able to use it with your children too.